about how Tyler Anderson is the real deal. He went out and had a performance, one of the best of his career. What was your reaction to it?
Pure joy for him. It was his moment. That's what I told him, and obviously he said it would have been better if I'd got 2 more outs. But I think it's as deep as he's gone, or as good a performance as he's ever had. And so I just felt I wanted to give it to him, and he's earned it. And so knowing that he's going to have a couple extra days in his next turn. It was a shorter turn prior. In Chicago, so I thought he had some bullets saved. There was no stress, so everything sort of lined up to give him that opportunity. But I was just so excited for him to have that opportunity.
When you look at the expectation of not only just Tony Johnson, but also Tyler Anderson, you see obviously 2 very different guys, but all of the work that they're doing this year and the execution that they're having. I mean, what's the biggest thing that kind of stands out to you with their success?
Well, I'll tell you, Tony and Tyler have really, and Tyler obviously has been around a little bit longer than Tony, but the way they work in between starts is unparalleled, or parallel to a guy that wears 22 in our clubhouse, and they dominate the weight room. So they take care of a lot of things that they have to, and then you're talking about the preparation where Tyler does a lot of his own homework and kind of back and forth with our guys as far as run prevention to kind of figure out the best way to attack a lineup on a particular night. And so he's as prepared as anybody that I've been around. And he's just totally bought into what we're doing, and he's an ultimate competitor.
That's it, Dave. We've seen you obviously pull guys from no hitters, perfect games. Was there any part of you that thought, okay, his pitch count's getting up here, maybe I need to get him?
There was, but I think each of those situations there was a reason. Whether it's a guy that's never done it and coming off surgery, or a guy that's got a finger that's bleeding every throw he makes. In this situation, like I mentioned, it was short to start before. He's got 2 extra days. It was stress-free, and so I just felt that here and that opportunity. So a lot of times I kind of just look at it each individual situation, and I know I've got this reputation as a grim reaper, but I'm a sports fan too, and I wanted that just as much as I really felt I wanted that just as much as Tyler and his teammates wanted that for him.
Was there a point where you decided I'm going to give him the rest of the game?
I think it was after the 8th inning. I think that once he got through there, at a certain point, he knew that he had to go out there and throw strikes, not walk guys, and they were either going to get a hit or it was going to end pretty quickly. So, again, I just felt that how we got there, there wasn't much cost. And again, I know his teammates wanted it, I know the fans wanted it. And then when I looked objectively for the short, the long term, it made sense. And like I said, I thought he earned it.
He said he fidgets kind of with his arm
All
a
the
lot.
time.
Was there any extra worry tonight about where he was
No, because that's something that I kind of addressed a few starts ago earlier in the season. And so I got that clear, so I wasn't really too concerned about that.
Why'd you get Phillips warmed up? I think
Because if there was a hit, I just felt that at that point in time, I wanted to have somebody right behind him. And I felt the same way in the 9th inning.
Is that why you're heading out in the 5th, just to see if he was feeling okay?
No, the 5th, I thought that he kind of slipped on the mound, and I thought something with his knee, and then Will said to just take a look at him, but I tried to get out there, and he said he was fine.
Hey, Tyler said that after the 7th, after Mark in Utah, Mark went to him and said, your pitch counts at 99, you're after 7, it doesn't look like you're going to be able to finish this off. You mentioned you let him just go out there and throw strikes and not walk guys, but you were kind of in no man's land as far as he had pitched his season high, career high, and was still going. So was there any number or anything that would have taken him out if he was still going?
I thought the number went by the wayside after the 8th inning.
Okay.
And I do believe that number is arbitrary. It really is. And still just watching his stuff, there wasn't much of a fall off outside of throwing 110 pitches at that point in time. There was still command in there. There was still teeth to the breaking pitches. So kind of just weighing that all in. I was just really wanting that for him.
What was that moment like when you did come play baseball, see the ovation that you got coming up?
A little bit of relief, a little bit of sadness, but I just wanted him to have what moment he could have, because it's something that's pretty special regardless.
What did you tell him?
I just said that this is your moment, great performance, love watching you compete, and give a little love to the fans who stuck around and cheered for you.
You know, obviously, you've talked a lot in the past about, right, the collective team goals and stuff. Yet, obviously, right, I mean, every kid, I'm sure, who's ever played baseball dreams of having a moment like this, and very few people actually have the opportunity to do something like that. When you kind of look at the two things, what's kind of the, right, I mean, your ace right now is in a sling, you know, I mean, how do you kind of balance out those
It's
two
not
things?
easy, that's right. You know, you just got to take the short term, the long term, the player's health. You got to trust the player to a certain point, obviously, knowing that they're always going to want to stay in there. And just your eyes. I mean, I'm just watching and just knowing that he takes very good care of himself, and the stuff that he's thrown out there is still holding. And I just didn't feel in this moment that health was compromised at all. And I thought that, again, so I'm mindful of all that stuff. That's why it's not ever an easy decision when you're making a decision that could impact the organization, longer term.
I mean, is part of it kind of too, like, it's kind of not my place almost to take this away from the guy?
Well, I have taken it out of certain players' hands, as you mentioned earlier. But those are reasons that I felt that could compromise health for the player. And so if I ever felt that, which I have, and I've shown that, then I'm not afraid to pull the plug. And I sleep well at night knowing I can protect the player. But in this particular instance, I felt that that wasn't going to be compromised.
I know there were a couple walks that if I pitched, Tyler even said he didn't realize there was a no-hitter going to like the fifth. From a stuff perspective, is this the best he's been this year?
It's up there. I mean, obviously the results speak to that, but I think that he's been pretty dang consistent. You know, you throw a couple starts out this year, the stuff as far as the changeup, the cutter, the fastball velocity has ticked up over, the last 4 starts. So, and it's holding. So, Tyler's starting to be a guy. He really is. And I think he's 8-0 now, and when he pitches, we win. And that's still the ultimate goal, is to win when you pitch. And he's done that.
How close were you guys watching the scoring decision when he threw the one away in the 7th?
Pretty closely.
Do you find yourself thinking that?
As I look back now, I was going to call it a hit in there.
Do you find yourself thinking like, man, how does this keep happening to me?
Yeah.
Just one last one. When you say how much you wanted it for him, obviously this is a guy who was a former #1 pick, who had a lot of injuries early in his career, and it took a lot for him to get to this point.
That's right.
How much of it was just kind of that, like knowing his journey
This
here?
is the Dodgers. It's Dodger Stadium. It's the Freeway Series. It's Trout, Ohtani, and you've got Tyler Anderson here with an opportunity to take a no-hitter into the 9th inning. I mean, with 50,000 people, it's like, you talk about odds. I mean, that's a special moment, and I just didn't want him, ultimately not, completing it or getting the no-hitter to really feel discounted. I mean, that's a special moment regardless. It's awesome.
So he said he never told you, like, you better not take me out, or anything? He said there was no...
No, I think that it wasn't going to be a conversation once I decided, but, yeah.
You've got Tyler and Gonsman, 2 of the less heralded guys on your staff, and 16-0. How amazed are you?
It's amazing. It's a credit to those guys. I mean, those guys are performing. They've got an opportunity, and they're taking full advantage of it. So Tyler came in as a 6th starter and bought in when the opportunity presented itself. He took it and ran with it. Tony earned a spot in their rotation as a Dodger farmhand coming up through the organization. Took advantage of the opportunity and ran with it. So I tip my hat to both those guys.
Did anyone in the...
Tonight was the Japanese Heritage Night, and you had this thing over there for the game, and then you met
Ken Watanabe, yes.
and then Taylor is great, and then who wrote the no, it's a Japanese guy. What do you think?
Well, that's what Tyler did say. He said it is a little ironic that Shohei on Japanese Heritage Night broke up the no-hitter, so I guess he could be too upset. But it was a special day for me, so all around. So it was a special day and we got a win.
Did anyone in the dugout realize that the first hit that got dropped on the collision was ruled a hit and then switched to an error like a few minutes later?
I don't think so. I don't think we did. Yeah.
Dave, you mentioned that teammates wanted it, obviously. Did anybody campaign to let him stay in the game? I saw you joking with Justin Turner there in the bottom of the eighth. I don't know if
Justin was calling to see if I wanted to review that play, the swing and bunt from Walsh, to see if I wanted to change it to a hit. And then Freddie was trying to get my pulse and seeing what I was going to do.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.